And one of her favorite things about the trip was just listening to all of us talk, you know, and tell stories. And she said, nobody's telling me these stories. Where would I have ever heard this? You know.
Watch Eyes on the Prize.
Yeah, watch Eyes on the Prize. Because it ends. Because you know, I don't know where high school history ends now, but but I mean, and Eric was saying the same thing, that he hadn't gotten this in like high school history or anything like that. He graduated in '96, I think.
And it's not in the history books yet?
We did.
It's not in the history books yet?
But I don't think they get that far in the semester.
But I don't know who all knows Mr. Cafe?
George.
Yeah, he's been Black History in Schools because it's American history.
Yeah.
And what you just said in regards to that young lady, that I mean, she's just a picture of what he's been fighting for, the lack of knowledge that.
Yeah. Because I mean, it's just now getting to be history, you know, old enough for it to be, you know. Because I remember when I was in high school, our history ended at World War II.
Yeah.
You know, it didn't really. I mean, it might have been in the book, but we didn't get that far by the end of the school year. You know, it's just an interesting thing.
One of the things that was interesting to me in the Little Rock story is when the school was closed. I didn't know that they closed. I've heard the story before, but we were able to hear little stories of what was going on during that time. But the white churches set up schools so that the white students
so the white
graduate.
students could go to school during that
That
year.
was so interesting to me that the church would not have all the kids, you know, making sure that all the kids are able to be.
They were very complicit.
So my reflection from all of this was, we have come a long way, and I was grateful that we had come a long way, but we just still are not, that 11 o'clock hour is still the most segregated. And when I say segregated, I say self-segregated, because, you know, self-segregated hour there, and that was just interesting to me, because whenever I think of the civil rights movement and the church, there's always, whether black or white, there were always pastors that rose up to be, you know, white, the I guess you would call them abolitionists, so to speak, and then you had the black church really where the meetings were held, and even the freedom songs were those of spirituals and gospel songs recreated for the march. And so I've always heard the positive side of what churches were doing, and I guess I never even thought, you know, that other churches were doing something different. And so that was really tough for me. But I mean, just driving up to Central, because I'd seen the pictures before, and just to be there, walking on that ground, and thinking of those parents just screaming at 14, 15, 16-year-olds, not one of them in the school. And you have National Guard trucks. National Guard trucks was right there on the streets where we were, taking 9 kids to school. You know, it was just extremely emotional for me. It was extremely emotional for me. And I said this to the group then, I don't know that I would have had my son as one of those 9. I don't know. You know, I would like to say that I probably would not have. But I don't know who mentioned it, that during that time, though, there was a lot of pride that we have to move forward on these issues. So I may have thought differently back then that, you know, maybe Monroe would have been one of those 9. But that